The mid-morning hours.
Yeah, the Weather Channel always helping you plan for all of your big events ahead. And that big event this week might be a trip to the beach, with Memorial Day marking the unofficial start to summer. So today, we're helping you get prepared for beach season.
That is right. It is beach day. And, you know, Florida's Gulf Coast, it's a favorite among several of our staff, including our weather producer, Melissa, as well as senior producer, Tori. I mean, check out the scene here in Destin this early part of the day. Not bad at all.
They don't call it the Emerald Coast for nothing, that beautiful emerald green water. We're going to talk more about the beaches, the forecast, the tides. We've got a lifeguard joining us today, and with some unexpected things you might not think about when it comes to safety at the beach.
Yes. Want to have fun at the beach?
All right. Well, we do have rain coming in. So let's talk about where we've been and where we're going, because it was a wet last 7 days across a lot of Florida. You see that where we have the yellow on the map indicating 3 to 5 inches of rain, pockets of that, especially on the East Coast here, but even around Tampa where we need the rainfall. We've seen some heavy stuff. And of course, the weekend was just a complete washout for you there on the beaches across Eastern, North and South Carolina. We have more to come. So this is what's coming now as we get to the end of the week. Believe it or not, we have a similar, not the same, but a similar kind of system coming in that will bring more clouds and showers. We'll see that move over Florida, and the peninsula especially gets into the rain chances. South Florida, that was the Euro model. This is the GFS model. Both have some signs of heavier rain there, and both show some signs of at least spotty showers across the mid-Atlantic and parts of the southeast coast. So where are we at right now? Well, we're finally kicking out that low pressure. It was a coastal low. It retrograded back, and now it's finally moving back out to sea. But then this guy here will be the next weather maker that we keep an eye on as we get into the middle of the week. So watching a little change in the jet stream just over the south that will give us another disturbance that comes on in, similar to the way things worked out last week, but not exactly the same. So we've got this mid to upper level system. We'll have to keep an eye on any surface features that develop. But what this does is just keep the moisture in place. Look, it's already humid outside. We know that. It's Florida in the summertime, but this is just some enhancement out there in the atmosphere to help make it rain a little bit more. Now, Tampa, for us, that's Wednesday especially, could be a pretty wet day. Then we get into more of the hit or miss on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, the afternoon thunderstorms, and Sunday, spotty. Back to life as we know it here in Florida, which is the spotty pickup thunderstorms in the afternoon, probably tied mostly to some of the sea breeze. Now, into the timing of it all here, you'll watch, this is Wednesday, you'll watch an increase in the chance of storms here, especially in the peninsula, chances into the panhandle, chances over here on Friday across the southeastern coast here. Not quite the washout like we had. The outlook pretty favorable at the moment. No development expected for the next 7 days. That's good news, right? But certainly we know anything can change at the tropics. So we every day look at that to see what could be changing, what could be happening, any low pressures over, warm water, etc. Now, the hurricane season forecast, they're all in case you missed it last week when the NOAA forecast came out, and all are about close to average for the seasonal forecast. Average is 14 named storms. Colorado State has 13. NOAA has 12 to 17. The Weather Channel has 16. So what's happening across the globe this year is that El Nino is going to be a factor, and often that will mean either average or below average when it comes to the season. But sea surface temperatures are very warm. They've been running above average, so could that be a competing factor? And by the way, it only takes one, whether it's an average season or not. It only takes one that makes landfall that makes it an unfortunate season. The names on the list this year start with Arlene, and then we go to Brett, Cindy, Don. This list, the 2023 list, was the same one used in 2017. And where we had a lot of names retired, and back in 2005, which there was also a lot of names retired. So certainly there's some newer names on this list. If you keep track of that, every 6 years the lists are recycled. But Irma was retired. Idalia is the new name on the list in case of that. Maria was retired, and Margot is the new name on top of that. Nate was retired, and Nigel is the new name instead of that. So we're getting ready for the season here. Of course, when it comes to hurricanes, we always think of the beach. And we are thinking of the beach in a big way today, because we just figured you might be thinking about it.
Yes, so it is beach day, and we're no doubt celebrating that. Now, yesterday, Jen, we were asking folks, okay, sometimes you have holiday plans or weekend plans, and then Mother Nature just does not cooperate. Yeah. And sometimes you want to kind of do a redo, a weekend redo.
A weekend redo?
Yeah, exactly. And we asked, okay, if you had a weekend redo and the weather could... There's a shot live at Lake Placid. That's beautiful.
That is beautiful. Morning in a hot tub with the sun comes up. I do love that over a lake. And especially when the weather's a little cool. I don't know what the temperature is here right now, but chilly in the morning, but warming up in the afternoon.
There you go. All right. Good stuff.
Well, a summer road trip would not be complete without a trip to the beach, right? There's probably more, but honestly, any day at the beach is a perfect day. But this one, Alex, I think this might surprise a lot of people that I need a tiny little broom.
A broom?
See this little thing?
I'm assuming to get the sand off.
Yes. So sand on your kids, sand on your chairs, sand on anything. And it makes it so much easier, actually, to get the sand off.
It makes sense.
And it's tiny, fits in my beach bag.
I like it. Okay.
Yeah.
And it works.
And it works. And I won't get the sand off the chairs until the very last day before we're about to, put them back in the car. But it gets in the nooks and crannies. And,
because, sand is always everywhere.
And it literally takes it right off the kids, like whisk right off.
All right. Wow.
So that's my one thing. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. I'll share mine in the next hour.
Okay.
I think I have it sitting over there.
So you all share yours. We're looking for some new beach ideas. You need to keep tabs on it every day. Virginia Beach, the East Coast here definitely has some more bigger tidal extremes than you might see along the Gulf Coast. But low tide is this afternoon at 1:56. High tide is at 7:58. So in between this time, the tide is actually going to be coming in. Honestly, right now, the tide is going out. And so that might be a time, if there are rip currents, they could be enhanced by the waters already naturally going out since we're heading towards low tide at the moment. Next high tide comes in tomorrow morning at 8:17. All right, so that's Virginia Beach. Let's go down to the Gulf Coast and look at Galveston, where we've got our high tide coming in today at 1 o'clock. The low tide is tonight at 8 o'clock. So in between high and low tide, that's the time where the tide will be going back out. So think about that. If the tide is going out, the water's moving out. If there are rip currents pulling away from the coast, then they would be enhanced by that movement. So around the time of low tide, rip currents can actually sometimes be a little worse if they exist. Tidal currents are something else I wanted to talk about here. And in Galveston, there's a couple areas to watch. So tidal currents are just areas, just because of the bathymetry, which is the seafloor, and the topography or the geography, that when the tide is going out towards low tide, there can be an extreme current. And you look at the ends of the barrier islands, where there's these inlets here, this area right here near Stewart Beach, Bolivar Beach. That might be one area to have extra caution at if you're swimming, making sure you're at a guarded beach, and always swim with a buddy. Dolphin Island is another spot which there may be some zones where that tidal current could be a little stronger. Again, watching around the time of low tide, which happens to come tonight at 6 o'clock. I want to zoom in real quick and show you where on Dolphin Island we have some of the areas to watch out for. Right here, it's on the ends, especially of these barrier islands, like around Sandy Point or maybe Pelican Bay or the East End Public Beach. So just something to keep in mind and making sure that you're staying safe at the shore. Yes. And the humidity does come back a little too.
Yeah. So I feel like summer.
Yes. And look, kids are not out of school everywhere yet, so I know that's hard.
That's true.
Going to school on days like that where, it just feels and looks like summer in the morning.
Makes you want to head to the beach.
Yes, it does.
And it is beach day here on the MHQ. We got you covered, all things beaches today. And we're going to talk about, of course, beach safety and just having fun out there at the beach. But we do have some unfun things to talk about, too, and that, unfortunately, is the storms in the middle of the country.
Yeah, we do have some thunderstorms that could bring damaging winds and hail, mainly in the high plains, one area to watch. Some spots, actually, that could use the rain.
Yes, that's the benefit that comes from this. So let's talk about who's going to...
Quick stop here to Florida's West Coast. You can enjoy the views at Curtis Hickson Waterfront Park. We're taking you out there, but it's not necessarily going to last. The rain does look to spoil maybe some of your post-holiday fun, especially later this week. Skies get dark, the thunderstorms come in, and there is the chance we get into some of these all-day showers and even thunderstorms here in the Tampa-St. Pete area. That's where we want to focus in on this week. So after last week, it was pretty wet, especially on the east coast of Florida, with rounds of showers and storms leading to more than 3 to 5 inches of rain. This is last week. And of course, you know what happened in the southeast here. You guys had a terrible beach weekend in South and North Carolina. Now we're going to bring in another system that will bring more rain back. And we're talking Wednesday, Thursday, into the weekend yet again. A lot of it confined here into Central and South Florida. This is the European model showing how much rain. You can see some of the bigger totals down there. The GFS has maybe a little bit less, but still pockets of 3 to 5, and especially focusing in on Central and South Florida. So that's what we're going to watch out for. The disturbance that caused all of the weekend mishap to your plans is leaving finally after it retrograded a little bit. It's finally going out. But at the same time, we've got another system diving in and coming in through the middle to the end of the week. week, and that is going to enhance some moisture coming in, enhance some lift out there to get those showers and storms going. And Alex, we could see heavy rainfall, and always worried about flooding, especially some urban flooding where the rain rates just get too strong.
Life to sandbars. These dangers may seem hidden under the water, but they can easily be avoided.
American Lifeguard Association National Spokesperson Wyatt Werneth joins us for Beach Day here on the show with some tips to keeping you and your family safe at the beach. Wyatt, thanks so much for joining us. You can see we're all decorated and ready for the show, but we really want to talk safety. And we're nearing that time of year where the beaches are going to be packed, if they aren't already. So while you wanted to swim away from crowds, there are some spots that you should avoid. Why is it important to stay away from structures like piers and jetties?
Well, happy summer, guys, and it's a fine weather.
Coming out to the sandbar, but beachgoers should be cautious of the seafloor. What do beachgoers need to be aware of?
Well, always swim in front of a lifeguard, like I said.
Yeah, no, good point. You know, before we even get into the water, there are some things we can do to prepare for a beach trip here. What are they?
Well, like I said, number one.
But no, I mean, it is dangerous here. And if you've ever stepped in a hole like that, walking on the beach here, I mean, you could literally break a leg. Mm-hmm. Well, you know, you've mentioned this a few times, that there's been a shortage in lifeguards. And it seems like this has gone on since the pandemic. Why is that?
Well, you know, we can track that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Wyatt Werneth, thanks so much there. American Lifeguard Association National Spokesperson. Again, thanks for joining us. Yeah, hopefully we can get that lifeguard, those folks here, the numbers back up. Yeah, absolutely, because it's necessary and needed.
Yeah. Well, don't forget our question of the day. We are asking,
get rid of sand.
To get rid of the sand. I'll show it again. It's just a tiny little brush. And you can even, so I got this at the beach, but you can even get this at a camping store or an outdoor store. Just these tiny little, you know, gets the sand off of everything, including your kids.
Which is key, right? Yeah. Genius idea, but go so far.
We probably did back in the day.
The forecast calling for maybe more clouds and sunshine, but should stay dry. It is a bit on the cool side, at least at this time of the year.
Yeah, no, not that much sun. So I think I can do without the sunglasses right now. This is a great way to do the weather. All right, my city pick today, Long Beach. It's another popular beach town name. There's at least 3 of them that I found. There's
clouds, but then the sun really comes out.
Great for
not
jogging.
Too dissimilar from what we got there in Ocean City.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. All right, take a first look at the rip current risk today, which, by the way, is high. And so in all seriousness, want to make sure that you are staying out of the water. Knee high is too high, usually on the red flag days. And I imagine there's probably some red flags flying up here today.
Yeah, absolutely, indeed. So watch out for that. You can see the areas there stretching from the Delaware shore up to basically the south side of Long Island as well. But Long Beach, here's your forecast. We're talking about full sunshine today. We'll be warming up as the week wears on. In fact, by the time we get to Friday, at least we'll be looking at some lower 70s.
I mean, I know July and August are your busy times up here in Long Beach, New York, one of the other Long Beaches. But still, if you have the beach to yourself today, enjoy a nice walk on the beach.
Yeah, absolutely. How about we head farther south? The rip current risk, of course, this was on the higher end of the scale over the weekend as we were dealing with that coastal low.
Yeah.
We still have the rip current risk, but we're kind of bringing it down into the low range here for at least the South Carolina coast.
Now, let's take you into Myrtle Beach, where today we're going to be looking at some improved weather compared to what we've had all weekend. There'll still be a few clouds around, but let's warm up those temperatures out of the 60s, right? We'll be in the upper 70s.
Yeah, that was just raw. That was just mean to be that cold.
Especially on Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah, exactly. All right, how about we move down into the Sunshine State? Again, another area we're going to have to watch out getting into the waters, the moderate risk for rip currents on the East Coast, and then also working west of Apalachicola.
All right, Daytona Beach, your forecast looking good. We've got sunshine out there through the afternoon, a few clouds, but no storms today, so enjoy that.
All right. We want to revisit that question.
Any day at the beach. This is why I think we should work like this all the time.
We would be too relaxed.
No, I feel like I could talk about a thunderstorm if needed.
Well, let's see. Let's talk to the bosses and see what they say. Great stuff, indeed. Keep the comments coming.
Beach Day. It's not some kind of national beach day. We just decided
made it up, yeah.
Today's beach day.
That's it.
Right here on America's Morning Headquarters. Thank you for being here. We will get you through the mid-morning hours.
That is right. Of course, the TWC, the Weather Channel, going to help you plan out for the day as well as the rest of this week. For many, a shortened week.
Yep.
Thanks to the Memorial Holiday weekend out there for you. And maybe you plan that beach trip there. And, of course, Memorial Day marks that unofficial start to the summer. Today, we are helping you get prepared for beach season.
That's right. Florida's Gulf Coast, always a favorite, especially among several of our staff here, including our weather producer, Melissa, and senior producer, Tori. Destin, Florida, looking good. Right now, you don't have a lot of people out there.
Not crowded at all.
No, I'm
got the beach to yourself.
Actually. Yeah.
Is everyone beached out from the weekend? Maybe.
Maybe. Yeah. Well, yeah. The weekend probably was pretty busy, so you get a break from that here, the crowds, if you are in town for the week. Well, we do have some safe, because I know last week was the weekend especially was a washout for some of you in the southeast. That's where we had just low clouds, rain, coolish, and you can see how much accumulated there. That was the past 7 days. Florida, though, we had pockets of really heavy rain, not just at the coast, but inland too. 3 to 5 inches of rain just fell. And now as we bring back in our next system this week, we've got some more chances kind of like that. So this is the European model. We see rain chances increasing here through the week and 3 to 5 inches in pockets again. Looks a lot like last week, doesn't it? Southeast coast, I know you're looking like, wait a minute, am I going to have another washout? It's not the same, but we do have some rain chances coming on in. And so I want to talk about what's happening. One system leaving, that's this guy. And this low pressure, that's the one that caused all of our bad weather. It actually retrograded back to the west, and now it's finally moving back away from the coast to the east. But we've got another system that's going to swing on in, another mid to upper level low pressure, which will influence our weather and bring in the moisture, give us some lift in the atmosphere to get showers and storms on the increase again. So we see that especially late in the week here. A dip in the jet stream allows that to happen just in the southern branch right here. So showers possible, panhandle you've got in play here at least the first couple of days, maybe Wednesday, Thursday in the second half of the week. And then it's the end of the week here as you get towards Tampa, where, Saturday we still have storm chances in our forecast. So watching for that increase here, not today or tomorrow, but mainly Wednesday, Thursday, and then into Friday. We'll see that across this whole zone. You see the chance of storms ramping up, and to some extent, it's almost always linked to the daytime heating where you see an increase in coverage. But because we do have that upper level feature, it'll, I think, at least give you the chance of rain continuing into the overnight. And then by the weekend, we do have some rain chances again. Coastal areas of Georgia, South Carolina, maybe even parts of North Carolina, like around Wrightsville Beach and Wilmington. Now, how much rainfall could we see? Enough that there could be flash flooding. So there's already an outlooked area Thursday into Friday where we could see possible flash flooding, especially thinking about some of the urban areas where the rainfall rates could just be so heavy that the water doesn't drain right away. We do still need rain here. The drought is still in place around Tampa. We're running about 5 to 7 inches below where we should be at this point here in the season. It is the rainy season, and that's usually a time we start making it up here. But we're still running a little behind across west central Florida, South Florida. We're good, right? We just want to get into our regular scheduled rainfall. Now, that low pressure off the East Coast was a challenging thing to watch. Any areas of concern? At the moment, no. This is an outlook for the next 7 days from the National Hurricane Center. And by the way, in case you haven't noticed, this used to be a 5-day product, and now it goes out to 7 days. That's new for this season. But at the moment, nothing of tropical concern. We'll keep an eye on it going into, of course, even every day, looking at this, just in case something changes. Things do change, actually, quite frequently in the tropics. So always watching, always watching. Now, the outlook for this season, everyone's forecast is all in. When you look at the outlook for the season, NOAA's just came in last week. You might have missed that. The average for a season is 14 named stormed. Colorado State has 13. NOAA has 12 to 17. The Weather Channel has 16 in the outlook. So all very close to average, if not even a smidge below, right? This is expected to be an El Nino year developing later this summer and early this fall. Here, we're practically there. And in an El Nino year, most years are below average when it comes to storms in the tropics. Now, it only takes one. We say that all the time. It doesn't matter if you only have one storm the whole season. If it hits land and it causes an impact, well, then, of course, that makes it a bad year. But I know everyone does like to know what does the season look like, and why are these outlooks not more below average? Well, there's other factors besides El Nino, and another factor is that the Atlantic sea surface temperatures, especially in that main development region, have been running above average. So that's something else to keep in mind. The names this year on the list start with Arlene and Brett, Cindy, Don. Here, Emily, you might remember some of these from the past. This 2023 list was used back in 2017 and going all the way back to 2005. So some of these names have been retired and replaced with new names, like Irma was on this list in 2017. Idalia is the new I name on the list. Alex, I think that's a little known fact that, the lists get recycled every 6 years, and the same names are used again unless they're retired.
Exactly. And unfortunately, it seems like that I name seems to be the most notorious, right?
Yep.
Crazy. All right, well, back to beach time. And
yes.
We were talking yesterday, I asked folks, if you want to do kind of a weather redo over a weekend that it just wasn't so great, and the weather is perfect, where would you like to be? Would you? Every answer you could have chosen was the correct one.
All right, so this is Pensacola Beach. I went to this spot one time to do some paddleboarding.
Oh.
Because you see how nice and flat it is?
It's pretty calm out there, yeah.
Yeah.
Very, very calm.
There, look,
that looks
they've
really
got the wave runners all
appetizing.
lined up.
Have you ever been on a wave runner?
Yeah, have you?
Oh my gosh. I could be out there all day. Too fun, too fun.
I don't go fast enough. That's the problem.
Oh, you got to pick up the speed.
I know. I'm a slow driver. All right, well, Summer Roaders, send us your comments, share pictures if you have them. Alex, what is yours?
Well, you know, when you go to the beach, my favorite thing is that nice breeze.
Yeah?
Well, sometimes the breeze doesn't breeze. So I create my own breeze. Look at that.
I do. See my
And this
hair?
can attach to your beach chair. You just kind of wrap the little legs around the beach chair.
I'm going to bring this to a soccer game, not just a beach. That's great. That's a great idea. Tide is basically just the movement of water to and from the shore because of the moon. The moon's gravity affects the water. The sun does too, actually, here. The sun's just so far away. So really all tied into the moon. And when you look at the Outer Banks and the tides today, so 10 o'clock was our low tide. Now we're getting towards a high tide at 4 o'clock this afternoon. So the water is coming in. So if you set your chair right up on the edge of the water right now, you want to keep moving it back because that tide is coming in. And we know we have some bigger tidal ranges here on the Outer Banks compared to what you might have along the Gulf Coast. Let's look at Galveston. I mentioned that there are some trouble areas. So for Galveston, we are heading towards high tide today at 1 o'clock this afternoon. And then after that, we're getting towards low tide at 8 o'clock tonight. So after 1 o'clock, the water's starting to go out. So that can sometimes actually complicate if there's rip currents. It can make the flow back out away from shore even more. And tidal currents are a very real thing as well. When you're getting towards low tide, and when low tide is happening, the water's coming away from the shore. Some areas like this, near an inlet or at the end of a barrier island, say around San Luis Beach, for example, here, or Stewart Beach on the other end, Boulevard Beach. Those are some of the areas where the water can actually be accelerated even more away from the coast when there is that time of low tide. And that can be a current that could take you away from the beach here pretty quickly, actually. So you want to be aware of that. Always swim near guarded beaches. Always swim with a buddy. If you have kids swimming, make sure there's that watcher designated to watch them. Dolphin Island is one other trouble spot here. We are getting towards, we're at low tide at 6 o'clock here. So the water going out right now. And there's not a big tidal range here. We've got an east wind across this area today. So while the rip current risk might not be that high, there still is those tidal currents, especially near the time of low tide, and watching those trouble spots near the ends of the barrier islands near the inlet. Now time for your dog.
No doubt feeling like summer out there for many of us. But with the summertime also comes some storms, and we're tracking that too.
We've got that too. But look, if you weren't feeling summer or in the beach vibe before today, we're going to make sure that you have that summer feeling.
That's right, because it is beach day here on AMHQ. We're talking all things beach. We're going to go to several beaches across the country. Also talk beach safety, which of course, when you drive home, you want to be safe at the beach, but also being safe.
Yeah, but you mentioned the storms here, and storms with lightning may be affecting folks across parts of the western high plains and really extending. We see some storms all the way into the Midwest where temperatures are warming up.
Yes, they are, which will help to fuel some of these storms. So let's talk about the storms too.
Yeah, and you know, it's actually going to be a week where every single day we increase the chance of storms here. There's actually more of an increase today over yesterday, and while it looks beautiful, West Palm Beach, this is our virtual view. We're going to see that sun give way to some clouds out here today. You can enjoy the views along Lake Worth Lagoon, the rest of the Intercoastal Waterway for now, but thunderstorms we think are going to be moving in perhaps later today, but most certainly by midweek. What's going on here across much of Central and South Florida is moisture's on the increase. We're already seeing that happening. And I know you think, well, we just did that. We did. Last week was a pretty wet one. We had over the past 7 days a widespread area of maybe 3 to 5 inches of rain across Central Florida, all the way down the coast here in West Palm. You're right in the heart of that. Of course, over the weekend, we were raw, rainy, damp. We had, you know, just a terrible holiday weekend for you here in eastern North and South Carolina. And we may be looking at some of that kind of weather coming back again as we get into next week. Now, this is one model forecast for Wednesday through Sunday. A lot of rain here. This is the Euro in Central and South Florida. We could see a similar case here on the GFS. Look at that, some heavy rain chances. And we do have another disturbance coming in, impacting our weather across Florida and parts of the southeast.
Sea life to sandbars. These dangers may seem hidden under the water, but they can easily be avoided.
American Lifeguard Association National Spokesperson Wyatt Werneth joins us for Beach Day here on the show with some tips to keeping you and your family safe at the beach. Wyatt, thanks so much for joining us. You can see we're all decorated and ready for the show, but we really want to talk safety. And we're nearing that time of year where the beaches are going to be packed, if they aren't already. So while you wanted to swim away from crowds, there are some spots that you should avoid. Why is it important to stay away from structures like piers and jetties?
Well, happy summer, guys, and it's a fine weather.
Swimming out to the sandbar, but beachgoers should be cautious of the seafloor. What do beachgoers need to be aware of?
Well, always swim in front of a lifeguard, like I said.
Love to dig in the sand and build those sand castles, but even that can be dangerous.
You know, that's funny you bring that.
They love it. It just gives them something to do. But no, I mean, it is dangerous here. And if you've ever stepped in a hole like that walking on the beach here, I mean, you could literally break a leg. Mm-hmm. Well, you know, you've mentioned this a few times, that there's been a shortage in lifeguards. And it seems like this has gone on since the pandemic. Why is that?
Well, you know, we can track that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Wyatt Werneth, thanks so much there. American Lifeguard Association National Spokesperson. Again, thanks for joining us here. Hopefully we can get that lifeguard, those folks here, the numbers back up. Yeah, absolutely, because it's necessary and needed.
Yeah. Well, don't forget our question of the day. We are asking,
to get rid of sand.
To get rid of the sand. I'll show it again. It's just a tiny little brush. And you can even, so I got this at the beach, but you can even get this at a camping store or an outdoor store. Just this tiny little, gets the sand off of everything, including your kids.
Which is key, right? Genius idea, but go so far.
Air that gives you a hug right there. Love it. All right. Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you for choosing America's Morning Headquarters to get you through the mid-morning hours.
That's right. The Weather Channel going to help you plan out here the rest of this week. A bit of a shortened week for many after the Memorial holiday weekend. And, of course, the Memorial Day marks sort of the unofficial start to summer. Today, helping you get prepared for beach season.
Yeah, that's right. So we're here. We're all decorated. We've got our sandcastle. Can we just... I mean,
this is impressive.
Got a point. Very impressive. 3D
printer
with paint.
Yes, I mean the detail is exquisite.
Yes.
Took a day to make this happen.
Kind of kick things off for that unofficial start to summer. Florida's Gulf Coast is a favorite among several of our staff here, including our weather producer Melissa and senior producer Tori. This is Destin, Florida, where if you were watching us last hour, we were wondering where all the people are. Well, they just woke up.
Yeah, there they go. They are out now, full force, enjoying their time. Some of them getting into the waters, others soaking up that sunshine.
Yep. Beautiful water out here. They don't call it the Emerald Coast for nothing here. We're doing good right now there in Pensacola. The rain over the past 7 days has been mainly central and south Florida. That's where we picked up about 3 to 5 inches of rain, plus south of Miami, even more than that. And then we had just persistent low clouds and light rain in South Carolina and North Carolina, especially on the beach here, but throughout a lot of the states actually this past weekend. Now, this upcoming week and weekend, we've got a little more rain coming back. Let's say a little more than a little, right? We've got areas of heavy rain in central and south Florida again, 2 to 3 inches, or even 3 to 5 here in some areas. This is the European model. The GFS model is similar, not exactly the same, but similar. So we do have some confidence that we've got some rain coming back. The system that brought us the crummy weather over the weekend, that guy right there, it's heading off the Atlantic coast now. Now, I will tell you that it was retrograding for a while, and it's still not moving quickly away. So there's still some influence in Virginia. It's why things didn't look that good there. Don't, right? You can see Virginia Beach. But we have another disturbance coming in this week that will do a similar thing to your weather here, especially across the Florida Peninsula. To some extent, some of the Panhandle, too. So here it comes, middle to the end of the week. Upper level, mid to upper level, low pressure, increase the moisture. We'll see that happening every single day. And as long as there's increased moisture, that in itself can be an impetus for showers of sea breeze thunderstorms here. The boundaries that you get from that sea breeze, tap into that and give us the thunderstorm chances. But there's an increased chance of storms starting on Wednesday in Tampa because of that disturbance coming in. So we've got thunderstorms Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday we get more into the typical pop-up kind of storms you get into the afternoon. But watching that Wednesday forecast here, and you see the showers on the increase throughout much of central, South Florida, East Florida. Beaches will be dealing with that. And then as we get through the weekend, this is Friday, Southeast coast. Yes, we do have some chances to get rain again. A cruise ship that was